The first step here is to install the Windows wallet. And to install the Windows wallet, you're going to want to go to the Solarium GitHub site. And I'm going to have these links down in the comments section. So here is the GitHub link. Just open your browser. Go to that location. And you'll see here that it's saying that you want to view the raw file. You can't view raw. What you want to do is just download this. This is the wallet in a zip file. So you just want to hit download. And it's asking me where do I want to save it. I'm just going to save this onto the desktop. Just because I can get to it easier, you can save this wherever you want. Once this is completed, we can minimize this. And now we have our zip file with our wallet in it. And we're going to need to extract this. And when you extract this, you're basically installing the wallet on your computer. These wallets are just plain executables, so there really is no installation process in the normal sense that you're used to. What you want to do, though, is extract this to a permanent location, and that's what you're going to be doing to install this wallet. So what you do is you just say extract all, and then you choose a location. I'm not going to store it here on the desktop, because if I ever go and remove something off my desktop, then I'm going to remove my wallet. So I'm going to install it with the rest of the programs on my computer. That way just things are consistent. So I'm going to hit a browse and then go to this PC, C drive, program files. So I'm going to install it in the program files folder, and I'm going to create its own little folder and just call it Solarium. And I'm going to leave this box checked, that way it opens up this folder as soon as it's extracted it. And now what I can do is I can right click this and say send to desktop, and that creates a shortcut on my desktop. Now if I ever want to run the wallet, I can just click this shortcut. So I can put this shortcut wherever I want. I can leave it here on the desktop. I can put it here in my Windows menu along with the, where normally your programs go. It's up to you. I'm going to do one extra step here which you probably don't need to do. I only need to do this on this server because this server is ultra secure. But if you try to run your wallet and nothing happens and it doesn't actually run anything, it's possible that your operating system is blocking it. So if you right click it, down here there's a little checkbox and you just want to say unblock. You probably do not need to do that. I only need to do it on this server because it's in sort of an ultra secure mode. So now that I've done that, I have my wallet installed, in a sense, on this computer, and what I want to do is just run it. And the first time you run it, it's going to ask you a question about where do you want to install the data directory. I would leave this as default. I would not choose a custom location unless you know what you're doing. And the only reason I say to leave it as default, if you're not really comfortable moving it to a custom place, is if someone tries to help you with your installation or anything with your wallet, if you move it to a different data directory, then they may not be able to help you as easily as if it's in the default location. So we're going to leave it as default. Hit OK. And now the wallet is starting up. And the first time it starts up, it's going to come down here and it's going to download the entire blockchain for the coin. And if you hover over this, it'll sort of tell you the progress of that download. And we can see right now it says it's processed 0 blocks of the history. So what it's going to do is just sit here and try to connect to different servers out there to download the blockchain. So what you want to do is just kind of give it a minute to see if it can connect to anything. If it sits here and it continues to stay at processed 0 blocks, what you can do is go into Tools, Debug Console, Information, and then here you can see how many connections it has. Right now you can see there's 0 connections to the nodes out there on the network, and it has downloaded 0 blocks. So basically this wallet has not synchronized at all. So what we want to do is just give it a minute. Let's see if it starts to synchronize. If it doesn't, what I can do is I can show you how to add some nodes in there manually to tell it where the other computers out on the network are. So I'm just going to give this a second and see if it actually starts to kick in and start downloading. So it does not appear that this is downloading the blockchain or making any connections. So what we can do is something called adding nodes to our configuration file, and that will allow our wallet to know where some connections are, some other computers out there that have the blockchain on it. So what you want to do is you want to close this tools window, go into tools, open wallet configuration file, and in this file what you're going to want to put is some node information from down in the comments. I'm going to have a section here that says add nodes. There may be another section that looks similar to this in the comments, but you want just this one that has just the add nodes. So if you copy those add nodes and then paste them into here, do a save, exit, and what you want to do is just restart this wallet. So go to exit, give it a minute to close down. Whenever you see this, it means it's doing some cleanup activities. Just let it finish up. You don't want to do anything. You don't want to shut the computer down. You don't want to restart the wallet while it's doing this. It's doing a little bit of cleanup. Sometimes this takes longer than other times, so let's just wait a minute and let it finish what it's doing. Alright, now that it's closed, we can open the wallet back up, and this time it's going to read that configuration file, and it should start to connect. And you can see it's already started connecting, and it's processed 121 blocks so far. So what you can do is do another quick check, go into Tools, Debug, come back here to Information. You can see now that it's got 6 connections, which is pretty good. It's going to keep connecting to more, and it is downloading blocks. As long as this number here, current number of blocks, is increasing, it is continuing to sync with the blockchain. So as long as this doesn't get stuck for a long time, then you know it's making it's progressing to downloading that blockchain. So you just want to just let it keep going. And what we can do while it's doing that is we can move on to the next step, which is creating a couple addresses in our wallet. So you go to File, Receiving Addresses, and you're going to see there's already one address here, and it's just sort of the first address you get when you install a wallet. It has no label. So we're going to use this address for collecting coins that we purchase from the exchanges, or from mining, if we're going to be mining coins. So what you want to do is you want to edit this label, and this label is just a friendly name you're going to give this address. No one else can see this label. You're the only one who can see it. It only exists in your wallet here. No one else knows what that is. So I'm just going to call it collecting. You can call it whatever you want. If you want to be mining to a certain address, you can make a separate address for each mining rig, or if you're purchasing from different exchanges, you can make a separate address for each exchange. It's really up to you, but for simplicity's sake right now, I'm just going to call it collecting, and this is where I'm going to collect all my coins from the different exchanges that I purchase before I make my masternode. And I'm going to create one more address in here, so I'm going to do a new, and this is going to be my masternode collateral address. So I'm going to call it MN1. And once we have enough coins that we purchase from exchanges, then we're going to send our coins to that masternode address. We don't want to do that yet because we want to send an exact amount of coins to this masternode collateral address, and sometimes that's a little bit tricky depending on the exchange. So to make it simple, I'm just going to collect coins that I purchase from exchanges on this collecting address, and then when we're ready in a later step, you'll see what we do with this second address. So now we've got our two addresses. We can close this out, and what we can do now is we can encrypt this wallet, and encrypting it really just puts a password on your wallet file. That way if somebody ever gets access to your wallet file, they can't get into your coins. They can't use your wallet file to load up your coins. It also protects your wallet. If you put a password on it, you can lock your wallet up. And what that'll do is make it so if anyone comes here while your computer's running and sees that they have a wallet up, you know, if they wanted to jump on here and try to send your coins somewhere, they wouldn't be able to send them unless they could unlock that wallet and use your password to unlock it. So encrypting it is a little bit different than locking it. Encrypting it just puts a password on your wallet, and locking and unlocking is what you do using that password. So you can lock it whenever you want, but to unlock it you need to use the password you used when you encrypted the wallet. So encryption is really just adding a password to your wallet. Locking and unlocking is what you do to force someone to use that password to unlock it. So what you want to do is go to Settings, Encrypt Wallet, and what you're going to want to do here is put a good password. I'm going to put something very simple. You don't really want to use something simple. You want to use a good password. And you want to make sure you remember this password. If you ever forget this password, you're not going to be able to decrypt your wallet and get access to your coins. So make sure you know what this password is before you really move on to start sending coins to this wallet. So I got my passphrase, hit OK, and it's saying, warning, that if you lose this, you will lose all your coins. And I understand that. Hit yes. And now it's saying to finish up, I want to do a restart. Just hit OK. It'll close down. Wait till it finishes closing. Once that's done, then you can open the wallet back up. Now that wallet is back up, you can see this icon down here has turned into a lock. And if you hover over it, it will tell you that the wallet is encrypted and locked. And encrypted just means you have a password on it, like I said. And locked means you have it locked, and the only way to unlock it is to use that password. So let's just go through and do a quick unlock just to see how you do it. You go to Settings, Unlock Wallet. And right now we want to unlock the wallet fully, so we don't want to check this box. But in the future, when you are staking your coins, you want to leave your wallet locked except for staking. And what that does is it protects your wallet from someone jumping on here and sending your coins out, but it allows the staking functions to work. So we don't want to do that right now. Right now we want to unlock it fully, so leave that unchecked. Put your password in. And now you can see that it is unlocked. It's still encrypted, that means it has a password, but it's unlocked at this time. And this is still continuing to synchronize. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sit back and relax and let this finish before we move on to the next step. So I'm going to fast forward this video so you don't have to wait too long, but we'll just sit back and watch. Alright, so it looks like this wallet has finished synchronizing. This little checkmark thing here is turned green. If you hover over it, it says synchronization has finished and it's up to date. As soon as you see this message, you know this wallet is good, and this is a good wallet now that you can start sending coins to it. You don't want to send any coins to any address, even though we made those addresses, until you know that this wallet can synchronize up. Because if you send any coins to this address and you can't synchronize, you're going to think your coins never made it, because as long as you send your coins somewhere later in the blockchain, if it can't download those later blocks in the blockchain, it's never going to see those coins. So you're going to be scared, and you won't be able to get access to those coins until you find a wallet that does have the entire blockchain. So don't send any coins until that you can confirm that this wallet has synchronized and it's able to go and say synchronization finished, up to date. This wallet is good. And one last thing we want to do before we start sending coins to this wallet is we want to make a backup of this wallet. So if you go to File, Backup Wallet, I'm going to just create this backup on the desktop. And what I like to do is give it the coin name and then a quick date. And then I put wallet.dat. That way I know this is a wallet.dat file. If you just call all of your backups wallet.dat, you're not going to know what coin they are. And if you're making multiple backups, you won't know which date it is. So I just put the coin name, date, wallet.dat, save it out here on the desktop. And you can see it's created this wallet.dat file. So what you want to do is you want to take this wallet.dat and store it somewhere off of this computer. If you save all of your backups on the same computer that your wallet's on, if you lose access to that computer, the computer crashes, you're going to lose your original wallet and you're going to lose all your backups. So you want to make a backup, or you want to take this backup off of this computer. And what I like to do is I put it on a thumb drive, and then I throw that thumb drive in a safe. And you don't want to be storing the backups with your password. So you saved your password when you encrypted this wallet. You don't want to write that password on a piece of paper and put it in your safe with your wallet.dat backups, because then someone can just steal your piece of paper and your thumb drive, and then they can get access to your coins. So you want to save that password and the actual wallet.dat file in different locations. I throw all my thumb drives in my safe, and I put all my passwords in a different safe somewhere else. So now we have the backup, and we have our wallets encrypted. Everything looks good to go. What we can do is now we can start collecting some coins. And by collecting coins, I mean purchasing coins out on the exchanges or trading with your friends, however you get your coins. But what you want to do is, if you go out to an exchange and you purchase some coins and you want to withdraw them from the exchange and deposit them to this wallet, move them to the wallet for your use, what you want to do is, on the exchange you're going to need an address to send them to. And that's one of the addresses we created earlier. So if you go to File, Receiving Addresses, you can see this collecting address is where we will be collecting all the coins in our wallet until we're ready to create our masternode. So if you're on an exchange and you purchase some coins and you want to send them here to your wallet, you would just right click this collecting address, or whatever you're calling it, and just say copy address, and then on the exchange you would withdraw your coins to this address. And if you're going to do that from an exchange, you want to make sure and you purchase a little bit more than the collateral required for this coin. The collateral required is 10,000 coins. You're going to want to probably purchase 10,001 coins. And the reason for that is because once you get all the coins in your collecting address here, you're going to need to make a collateral transaction. And you'll see that in the next steps, but when you make that transaction, you're going to need to pay a transaction fee. So if you only purchase 10,000 coins on an exchange, and you try to send those 10,000 coins to this wallet, you're going to pay a transaction fee from the exchange. And then when they get to this wallet, they're not going to be 10,000 anymore. And then, if you try to transfer those less than 10,000 to your masternode collateral, you're going to pay another transaction fee. The transaction fees are tiny. They're like 0.001 or 0.0001, I'm not sure. But it's a very small amount. But what you want to do is, on the exchange, you want to purchase, say, 10,001 coins, and then send those 10,001 coins here to your collecting, or collect 10,001 coins, or however many, as long as it's more than 10,000. It could be 10,000 and a half a coin, something like that. But you just want a little bit more than 10,000. That way you can transfer these coins between addresses and pay that transaction fee. So that's what I'm going to do now. Is I'm going to copy this address. I'm going to go on to my exchange and then send the coins here, and we'll be back in a minute. Alright, and you can see now that I have sent myself 10,001 coins to my collecting address. And I got those out on the exchange, and I got that one extra coin just to make things easier. So now that I have those here in my wallet, I can take a look and look at my transactions tab. And this is where you see all your transactions that occur in your wallet. And you can see the only one so far I've done is received on this address, the collecting, the 10,001 coins. That just kind of lets you know what's going on in your wallet. You can see all the transactions that have occurred. But what I want to do now is create a collateral transaction, and what that is where you send yourself, or you send to a certain address, a collateral address, you send 10,000 coins exactly in one single transaction. And what that does is it's a proof to the network that you have 10,000 coins on an address, and that will allow you to use that transaction and those coins on that address to lock into a masternode. And it needs to be exactly 10,000 coins, no more, no less, and it needs to be in one single transaction, because the transaction ID is the actual proof that you're going to use to prove to the network. So to create this collateral transaction, what you want to do is you want to send to your collateral address the 10,000 coins. So to get my collateral address, that was the address we created earlier. So if we go to File, Receiving Addresses, this is the one we called MN1. So if you right click and copy that address and close this and go to the Send tab, you're going to want to pay yourself 10,000 coins exactly. So this looks good. I'm going to pay my collateral address exactly 10,000 coins. I'm going to hit send. It's going to say, are you sure you want to do this? It's going to subtract a small transaction fee. This is what we were talking about earlier. And it's going to subtract this transaction fee from my balance. This is my balance in my wallet, which is all of my addresses added together. If I had sent, say, 10,000 exact from the exchange and I only had 10,000 in my balance, when I tried to do this transaction, it's going to subtract some coins from that. So when it gets to my collateral address, it's not going to be 10,000 coins exactly anymore. It's going to be 9,999.9999998, whatever. So that's why it was important to send yourself just a little bit of extra coins so you can do these transactions. But this transaction looks good. I'm going to hit yes. And then we can come in here and look on our transactions tab, and you can see now there's a new transaction that shows up, and it says payment to yourself, address not available, not applicable, and then you see here the amount. It looks kind of funky, but the reason this amount does not show the 10,000 is because you've sent these coins between addresses in your wallet. The coins did not actually leave your wallet. This amount value here is displaying coins that left or entered your wallet. It doesn't show you the coins moving around inside your wallet. But if you want to see your transaction details, if you double click that, you can see this was the transaction, 10,000 coins. And here's the transaction ID and all this information. And that's all you really need to know, is you've sent yourself this 10,000 coins, and if you hover over it, it tells you how many confirmations you have. To use this collateral transaction as a masternode collateral, you need to wait until there's 16 confirmations on this transaction. So we will need to wait until this gets up to 16 confirmations, but we don't need to wait right here. We can wait as we can move on to the next step while we're waiting. So we don't have to sit here and wait for that 16. So what we're going to do is just move on to the next step. So now while we're waiting for that collateral transaction to get up to 16 confirmations, we can move on to the next step, which would be to configure this wallet. And what we're going to do is go to Tools, Open Wallet Configuration File, and in here we have, previously we added all these nodes into here. What we want to do now is add some extra information. So under the comments down below, you're going to see this Solarium config contents, and what you can do is just highlight, copy the entire thing, and overwrite what's already there. It's basically the same nodes but a bunch more information. And what we want to do now is fill out a few of these pieces that have these square brackets around it. These are things you want to edit. So the RPC user and password, this is really just going to be a string of letters and numbers. You're going to want to put a real username and password, or a legitimate username and password in here. I'm just going to put something very simple because I don't need to keep this wallet around, but you want to put a real username and password here. You don't need to remember that or store that anywhere. It's only used by the back-end processes in this, but you want to use a legitimate username and password. You don't want to do what I just did right there. So put some, capital letters, lowercase letters, numbers, things like that. The next piece of information we need is your external IP address. So we're going to be running this locally as a hot wallet on our local machine. So we need to have a static IP address. So before you try to choose this installation method for masternodes, you want to make sure you have a static IP address. Because when you're running your masternode, you are communicating out to the network saying, hey, this is my location, I'm here, and I'm running the masternode. If you change, or if your IP address changes, it's just going to cause havoc, and you probably won't get any rewards, and it might cause some problems in the network. But the important thing is you're not going to get any rewards, because no one's going to be able to find you, because your configuration file has one IP address, but your computer is on another IP address. It just won't work. So what you want to do is make sure you have a static IP address. You'll have to talk to your internet service provider to verify that if you don't know that. But if you don't know your IP address, you can just go to Google and say, what is my IP? And it will give you your IP address. So you can copy that and paste that here. Did not copy it apparently. Try that again. And you want to leave that colon and then port 5151. And now we need something called the masternode genkey value. This is your masternode private key. And to get this piece of information, you're going to go into your wallet and go to Tools, Debug Console, and here you're going to click the Console tab, and then down here in this command area you're going to type masternode genkey, and that's going to give you a private key for this masternode. So you're just going to copy that, go back into your config file and paste it there, and that's all we need here for the wallet configuration file. This looks good. We're going to do a file save and an exit. and move this out of the way. Next we're going to do is set up our masternode configuration file. So go to Tools and open masternode configuration file. And in here you're going to see there's already a couple lines. These pound signs mean these are comments to the system, so just ignore those and leave these. You don't need to touch those. But down in the comment section of this video you're going to see another entry here for masternode config contents. You're just going to want to copy that and paste it in there. And then we'll take a look at what each of these values is. So the first one here is the alias. So if you're running multiple masternodes here, then you're going to want to give each of your masternodes an alias. That way you can tell them apart, and the wallet can tell them apart. It's just a friendly name you give your masternode. No one else can see it. It's just for you. So what I do is just choose masternode 1. Then you're going to need your external IP address again. And we can go back out to Google and get that. And then port 5151. Now we need that masternode genkey value again. That was back here in our debug window. Copy that. And then we got two more pieces of info here. The masternode outputs transaction ID and masternode outputs 10 value. So what you want to do is come back to your debug window and type, this time, masternode outputs, and it will give you a transaction hash, which is the same thing as a transaction ID. This is the actual transaction ID of your collateral transaction you made, where you sent yourself exactly 10,000 coins. That's really all that is. So you want to copy that and then paste it as your masternode outputs transaction ID value or transaction hash. It's the same thing. And then this last piece is the outputs 10 value. Back in your debug console you're going to see this output index value or output IDX value. It's going to be a 0 or a 1. In our case it's a 0. So in our config file we're going to put a 0. And this config file looks good to go. We have the alias, our local static IP, port 5151, our masternode genkey value, which is we got from running masternode genkey, and our masternode outputs transaction ID or transaction hash, and the output index. And those are the second two values we got when we ran masternode outputs. So this config file looks good. We're going to do a save and an exit. And we don't need this debug window anymore. We're going to close that up. And then what we need to do now is, back in our wallet, we want to hover over that collateral transaction and make sure you have 16 confirmations. If you still don't have 16 confirmations yet, you just want to wait a few minutes until you get those. I have 44, which is plenty. So what I can do is I can restart my wallet. Go to File, Exit. Make sure it closed everything down. Reopen it. And when we reopen it, it's going to use those configuration files. And before we go into our masternodes tab to start our masternode, right now it's not started, what I like to do, and I suggest you do, is wait for this section down here that's synchronizing masternode information. Let this fully synchronize before you start messing around in that masternodes tab. Because what this is doing is communicating and checking the network for all the masternodes out there. Just let this do its thing. This might take a few minutes. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to sit back and I'm going to fast forward this section. Alright, so that has finished synchronizing. So what we can do is come over to our masternodes tab, and you can see that the masternode that we configured is already set up, and it says it's enabled. So what it had done is it automatically recognized that the masternode was there, and it started it up for us. If this says missing, then all you're going to want to do is highlight that row, and you can hit start missing or just start alias. But usually it'll just boot it up for you. But if it says missing, just go and hit start alias. And that means your masternode is up and good to go, and you're pretty much done. What you'll want to do is say this value said pre-enabled. Occasionally it'll say that, and that just means it's communicating out on the network and telling the network that it's there. And you're just going to wait. Sometimes it stays in that state for 10 minutes, sometimes it stays for an hour. It really just depends. What I would do is, if it says pre-enabled, just wait a couple hours. If it hasn't moved to enabled, then jump on the Discord channel and see if anyone has any suggestions. So one thing I like to do a sort of a double check or a last check to make sure my masternode is really set up right, is to check the masternode on the block explorer. And that will verify that your masternode is visible out on the network to everybody. So what you can do is you open up the block explorer. I have a link down in the comments. It's under block explorer, or you can go into the Discord channel and search for block explorer. And we will go to the block explorer. And here you can go to this masternodes tab. And on the masternodes tab, you're going to want to search for your IP address. This lists all the masternodes out on the network, and you can search the search box. You can search for your IP address. So the IP address of our masternode is 108.161.157. And you can see this is it, and it looks like it has not been paid yet, which is correct. Status is enabled. This is your collateral address. This is where coins will be showing up, and you can double check that that information is correct. Also called the pub key, SQF. So this looks like my masternode is visible on the network, and this is a really good indication that my masternode is up and running correctly. So this is great information, and that is good news. So now we are pretty sure that our masternode is set up correctly. What you're going to want to do is wait around to make sure you get your first, or wait around until you start getting rewards before you know for sure that this masternode is running. And the first reward sometimes takes a while. It could take 6 hours, 8 hours, 12 hours. I wouldn't be too concerned until maybe you've hit, at least 12 hours. If you've hit 12 hours and you think there might be something wrong, you can ping someone on the Discord channel and say, hey, I haven't gotten a reward yet. They might say to wait 24 hours, but you can check in on them after 12 hours, but I wouldn't be too concerned until at least 12 hours has gone by. Usually what I do is I'll set this up and then I will check it in the morning and make sure I've gotten a reward.